Ladies and gentlemen, there's 75 more days to the start of the NFL season, and the Washington Commanders are getting some pretty positive news this summer. My name's Aaron. Thank you for turning into the Daily Huddle, your one-stop shop for big news in sports, whether it comes to football, in season, out of season, basketball, whatever it may be. We're going to talk about it here. So if you could, hit that like button, pound that subscribe button, hit that little bell, comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Love to talk to you about whatever it may be. But especially today, we're talking about the Washington Commanders. And some great news coming from a great wide receiver. I would say he's a great wide receiver. But Terry McLaurin talking big game when it comes to the rookie Jayden Daniels. And I would say this is really awesome coming from a receiver who's been in the league now for a handful of years, has posted some great seasons, 4,000-yard seasons with quarterbacks that have not been great. Let me say this to all you Commanders fans. They've had their moments, but they haven't been great. We'll get into that more. But that being said, Scary Terry kind of just dives into it, and he just talks about essentially Jayden Daniels' poise, his confidence, calling plays in the huddle. And one of the biggest things is coming into it as a rookie and being able to say, hey, I'm a quarterback. I'm coming in. I understand I'm a leader on this team, and that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to lead by example, and I think that's huge. But Terry basically goes on to say that he's doing great in the huddles and walkthroughs, all these different things. He rarely makes mistakes when calling plays. He came in, this one's really huge, especially transitioning from the college game in that playbook, transitioning into the NFL. A lot of quarterbacks talk about how you get to the NFL and they hand you this massive binder, and it's hard to kind of dive in and understand offenses going from what you were taught in college. Obviously, there's similar concepts. We can't argue that. But when it comes down to it, memorizing all of that stuff, understanding all that stuff, different routes, different reads, all these different things. So coming into it and having a veteran receiver like McLaurin say, hey, he's poised, he's ready to go, he's not making mistakes. I think for Terry, Scary Terry, he's probably licking at the chops. He's ready to go because this is the first time he probably sees where he's like, man, we have a lot of potential and our numbers can look great. And even talking more about Terry, you look down and for Daniels, you know, he had 50 touchdowns. Now, granted, I understand this is college. Right. I understand. But you have someone coming in, second-round pick, who threw 50 touchdown passes in a prolific passing offense. You have a new offensive coordinator in Cliff Kingsbury, who is a pass-happy guy. And also him taking the job with Washington, you have to know that he was probably told, like, hey, we're going to take Daniels. He probably loved Daniels. Obviously, money was probably a huge thing for him as well, duh. But when it comes down to it, I think there's a lot of positive things coming out of this summer for the Commanders looking into this season, especially competing in the NFC East, the NFC Beast. But that being said, you look at someone like Terry and him saying this, someone who has put up good numbers, 4,000-yard seasons with below average quarterbacks. So first, you see last year, you said you had Sam Howell, and then you had Jacoby for a little bit. But then the year before that, you had Hinkie, forgot about him, and Carson Wentz. I'm going to comment below. I thought Carson Wentz was going to do better. You're probably like, wow, you're a joke in thinking that. I don't know. I always had high hopes for Carson Wentz, but obviously they had been dashed, and it's been embarrassing for him. But that being said, you had those two guys throwing to him. And then, again, we had Hinkie. So I think he is a solid backup quarterback, understands the playbook, but he's not a starter. And I think Terry understands that this whole time that he has been in here has been kind of a situation where he hasn't had a true starting quarterback, NFL caliber starting quarterback. And I think he sees that finally in Jayden Daniels. And I think that is looking really good for you guys as Commander fans. But as well, this is another testament to this, just more positive news, more leadership demonstration from Jayden Daniels, clocking in at 5:45 a.m. If you're a true man, you're waking up that time because you know no one else is. Am I right? But that being said, he did that at LSU. And then his boy Luke McCaffrey, the next great McCaffrey in the NFL, he joins him as well. And I think that part as well, not only the positive news about Jayden Daniels and his poise and his demeanor and his leadership and his knowledge of the playbook, but I think this is huge too. I think Luke McCaffrey, because if you look at it, we're going to look at the stats from last year, okay? So real quick, follow along with me if you can. McLaurin, obviously we know top receiver. If you're in fantasy, you'd be an idiot not to know that. Curtis Samuel, peace, he's gone. He's with the Bills. Dotson, he don't get me wrong, he still has potential. Again, back to the thing, has he had a true quarterback? Has he had a quarterback that is a true number one starting quarterback in the NFL? You can argue no. I would say no. Logan Thomas, gone, 49ers. Antonio Gibson, gone, though he's a running back. He is not a wide receiver, but still posting some receptions out of the backfield. He's with the Patriots now. And so when you really look at it, Luke McCaffrey has a lot of potential to jump right in there and get some playing time, get some receptions, get some targets, and I think that's really big, especially if you're making this connection with a quarterback already. Why not? What do you guys have to lose? Throw them in there. And so if they can make this connection, I think that's great. Other great news as well, just on Jayden Daniels. You look at right here, Cliff Kingsbury. We know that he's been all over the place. He's had his ups and downs, mostly downs, but he is a very knowledgeable guy when it comes to offense. Obviously, there's a reason he is getting a coordinator job in the NFL. And if he does well here, which again, I think he has a lot of potential to do well with what the Commanders are doing. And honestly, too, the NFC East, yeah, you have the Eagles. Eagles are probably going to finish number one. But then, and obviously the Cowboys, but we all know the Cowboys choke because that's what they're best at. And then the Giants, like, who even knows what the heck's going on with the Giants? But you just never know. And so, it might take, a couple years. But look at what happened with C.J. Stroud and the Texans. His first year in, bam. Like, could that be the Commanders? It wouldn't surprise me. But that being said, when you see the offensive coordinator saying stuff like this, and he's coached a lot of great, talented quarterbacks, boom. And then Dan Quinn, man, I'm sorry, I have to say this. Every time I think of him, I just think 28-3. You might not understand that, but if you're a Falcons fan and you're watching this, you're probably crying right now. But anyways, he's basically saying, hey, he's further along than he should be. And that's another good sign coming from the head coach, quarterback coach, same thing. And I know you're probably thinking, Aaron, yeah, they're going to hype him up. They're a second-round pick. They're trying, yes, they're going to do that. Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, he's doing great. I mean, and it's not like it's just coming from one person. It's coming from multiple people. So I think that's huge. But again, if you don't ever use this wiki roster, I always just go and put in a team's name and then wiki depth chart. I love this thing. You may not. I do. I think it's great. But again, you just look at the receiving core. And again, Terry McLaurin, obviously your number one. And then again, Dotson. I mean, Luke McCaffrey. I mean, who the heck knows? We'll see what happens. I love Zach Ertz here. I love the veteran here, but I mean, you just never know. They could surprise a lot of people this year. I think they have a lot of things going for them. I think they have a lot of pieces that they can really win games with, and And I think with Dan Quinn there showing that he has done it before, he's won before, he knows what to do. And then obviously giving, Cliff Kingsbury the reins to the offense and kind of telling him to take over with those weapons, I think they have a lot of potential. Obviously, they might need a few more pieces, and they probably will need a few more pieces. But then again, I always say, look at C.J. Stroud and the Texans. You can say that's an outlier, but it could happen. A lot of positive things. So thank you for tuning in. Again, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the little bell in the corner so you can get notifications, and comment below. Let me know. What do you think about Jayden Daniels? Do you think it's a great pick? Could he be better than Caleb Williams? Could he be the top quarterback in the draft? Tell me what you think about him. What do you think about Luke McCaffrey? Do you think he's going to be a pivotal part of the offense? What do you think? What kind of numbers Terry McLaurin is going to put up this year? I want to hear it below. Let's talk about it. You comment. I'm most likely going to respond, or one of us will respond. We'll see. But that being said, thank you for tuning into the Daily Huddle. We'll talk to you later. Peace.